Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a voiceover of some solves that I did in Deccan Cubing July 2019. These were both Pyraminx solves that I did in the two rounds, so that's a total of 10 solves, and the averages were 3.98 in the first round and 3.77 in the second round, which will be displayed on the screen as well. So this video is going to be slightly out of context because there won't be too much display on the video. I will just be explaining. So this might not make too much sense, or the title might not make too much sense if you're not listening with audio, but I'm just going to get into it. So as the title must suggest, I switched to the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx. You can see this. It's in the white base, and I've been using the X-Man bell for quite some time. In fact, I've not switched bells. The only bell I've used has been the only bell that I have, which I've been using from August of 2017, and it was worked really well for me. In fact, a lot of people that tried my bell, even at the Deccan Cubing competition, wondered why I wasn't using it because they thought it was really good. And I did so too for quite some time because I've been using it for close to 2 years until I just switched recently. But that all ended in not Deccan, sorry, M Cubes Open, which was a week before the Deccan Cubing Open. So at M Cubes, I finished my Pyraminx rounds. I got, I think, a high 3 and a low 4. So nothing spectacular, but it was a competition after a short break that I took for exams, so I wasn't too worried about it. I came second place in Pyraminx and third place in 3x3. For my second place in Pyraminx, I got the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx in its white base. And at first, I wasn't too excited because I've seen a lot of pro Pyraminxers switch from the Moyu magnetic to the bell, and I've also tried it before. And the light magnets, just by trying it, I didn't really seem to like it that much. But I did end up giving it a go at home, and the reason for that is because I had actually been locking up on my X-Men bell a lot more, and this may be in part due to the fact that it's dying probably. It's very old, but it has worked well for quite a long time. So in the week leading up to Deccan Cubing, July, I decided to give the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx a go, and I don't really care too much about the base color, so my X-Man bell was stickerless, but the white base didn't affect me too much. But one thing is that the moment I started using the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx, my times worsened a lot. But I decided that I would just keep on using it because I figured the X-Man bell isn't working for me, so I might as well try to make this one. So I did lots of solves on it, and rather quickly my turning style actually adapted to it. And later on, I went on to realize that this cube might actually be better for my turning style because I adapted to it quite quickly and ended up getting a quite good average. So what happened is when I first unboxed it, I right away noticed again that the magnets were extremely light. But as the title suggests, this is why my turning improved on Pyraminx. So the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx has very light magnets, and the X-Man bell has very strong magnets. The strong magnets on the bell, which is what I was used to, allowed me to turn rather harshly and at times too harsh to the point where I was locking up even with the strong force of the magnets clicking into place. And what I realized immediately while switching to the Moyu magnetic is that this would simply not work out that well. My turning on the X-Man bell would 100% not work on the Moyu magnetic, and this is simply because it would lock up, undershoot, and the another thing is that the tips on the Moyu magnetic were a lot lighter. If you turn a Moyu magnetic Pyraminx's tips, sometimes after turning a bell, you will not feel any magnets. It literally feels like you're turning a tip without magnets. And for some time I did believe that too, but I believe that they are quite light magnets. So what happened was I had to adjust to all this, but once I did adjust to it, what I noticed immediately is that my turning became a lot more accurate, and that is the main thing that helps me with it. So actually, I had a bit of a not a dilemma, but it was kind of just confusion at first because what ended up happening is after doing some solves on the Moyu magnetic, I went back to the the X-Man bell, and what I immediately noticed was that my solves were actually a lot better on it after turning the Moyu magnetic for some time. And this was because my turning had simply adapted to it, and I was turning a lot calmer, firstly, and you will probably be able to see in some of my solves that my turning is quite calm compared to a lot of my solves that I used to do with the bell. If you go back, I guess, a year or so, you'll definitely be able to see that. So that's one thing. Um, but the other thing that I mainly saw was that my tips turning was also better. And finally, I was just not turning so harshly. You can see that I very rarely overshoot, and more importantly, I'm turning a bit slower actually. And what that meant was that I was able to look ahead a lot better. And because of that, although these aren't my personal best averages, the scrambles that I got were not too favorable, and I'm actually quite happy with my result. So I'm actually getting a lot better times with this at home, and I'm confident that this Pyraminx will actually help me get better results in competition. So this is my video on how the Moyu magnetic Pyraminx helped me turn better on Pyraminx. And I made this video mainly to share my experience with this Pyraminx, mainly because I feel that being constricted by one cube, feeling even if that cube dies, buying the same cube again, um, really, what I personally think, at least for me, is that trying out new cubes is not really that big of a deal. In fact, switching to cubes is a lot easier for me, at least, than a lot of people think. A lot of people think that, changing turning styles and all that is extremely difficult, and that is true. But with a little bit of effort, you can switch, and that switch might just end you up with a much better turning style and a much better cube to perform with, which will translate, of course, into better results over time. So that's basically it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the solves, and yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on my next video.